Today is opposite day.
So since it's opposite day, we have to ask SethBot here what our cards will do. But first, who goes first?
I'll go first. No,
Nice
never
try.
mind. Opposite day? No. Don't have good luck and don't have fun.
Yeah, I wish you the worst game. I won't keep.
Okay, I won't keep either.
All right. I'll play a Lotus Field. I have no idea what this does.
What does it do, Seth?
Lotus Field. So Lotus Field, it's a land. It has hexproof. It says it enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you have to sacrifice 2 lands, and it taps to make 3 mana of any one color. So I think the opposite day Lotus Field is it enters the battlefield untapped. When it enters the battlefield, you get to search your library for any 2 lands, not even basic lands, any 2 lands, put them on the battlefield, also untapped. Still taps to add 3 mana. The drawback is, rather than hexproof, it has, if this becomes the target of her spell or ability, you gotta sacrifice it. So if anything can target it, it goes away essentially, since I think that's as close to the opposite of hexproof as you can get. Seems good.
I just get to search my library for 2 lands?
So what, you have 5 mana on turn 1?
Easy. I'll use all of that to cast my favorite card, which is Steel Golem.
3 mana 3/4 says you can't play creature spells. On opposite day, Steel Golem has the very helpful text that says you can play creature spells. In case you were wondering if you were allowed to play creature spells.
Broken.
Okay.
Absolutely broken.
All right. Draw, planes, and pass.
All right. I'll untap. I'll draw. That's a good one. I'll play Sorrow's Path.
So it's a land. It says tap to exchange 2 of opponent's blocking creatures. This exchange may not cause a legal block. Sorrow's Path does 2 damage to you and 2 damage to each creature you control whenever it is tapped. So Sorrow's Path on opposite day would be tapped to exchange 2 attacking creatures. This exchange must not cause illegal attacks. And when you do, you gain 2 life and you prevent the next 2 damage to each creature you control.
It's like hyper banding or something.
Yeah.
It just makes combat impossible. Also, my Steel Golem will attack.
I will cast Healing Salve.
Which mode will he choose?
I don't know, Seth. Let me know what the modes do.
So Healing Salve is 1 mana white instant. Target player gains 3 life or prevent the next 3 damage to target creature or player this turn. Logically, the opposite of Healing Salve is Lightning Bolt. So this is 1 white mana, 3 damage to any target.
That's actually pretty good. So I can't kill the Steel Golem, but I can target you and deal 3 damage to you.
I go down to 17.
And then I take 3 from the Steel Golem. We are at equal terms right now.
Let's see how equal those terms will be after I cast Leveler. I don't know what that does.
5 mana 10/10. When it enters the battlefield, exile your library. This one's pretty easy. When it enters the battlefield, you exile an opponent's library.
Oh no! So my library just gets exiled?
This was my highest hope for this card.
And you get a 10/10? That's not fair.
This is now exiled.
All right, well, do you have anything else to do, my friend?
I'll pass the turn.
All right, I'll untap, and then I'll try to draw a card, but my library got exiled by Leveler, so I guess I just lose the game.
This is a straight up combo. This lets me cast creature spells, and then this wins the game.
That's brutal. Brutal.
Phil, you came to challenge me. You sure you want to do this?
I am very sure.
All right. I won last game, so I guess you get to go first.
I'm going to play a swamp.
All
And
right.
then I hope Seth doesn't do me dirty on this because Death Shadow?
So, no.
I don't know, Seth.
Dash Shadow. So 1 black mana 13/13. It gets -X, where X is your life total. So opposite day Dash Shadow. Dash Shadow gets +X, where X is your opponent's life total. You get to choose whichever opponent has the highest life total. This card seems pretty good.
So this is a 1-drop that is as large as I have life total, so it's always lethal, and then it gets 13 on top.
No, that's power creep.
I'll draw.
Pass, yeah.
I'll play a forest. And I've got a play of my own.
All right.
I'll play a UU bubble. Let's see if it saves me. Seth, please.
Juju Bobble. So 1 mana artifact, cumulative upkeep of 1. If you play a card, you have to sacrifice it, and you can pay 2 to gain a life. So opposite day Juju Bobble, when you play a card, you get to return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's the opposite of having to sacrifice it.
Okay.
The bad news is its ability is now pay 2 mana, you lose 1 life. So hopefully you're playing Death Shadow or something.
If I was playing Death Shadow, this would be of no use. Seth, this is a really bad card. The opposite of a really bad card should be a really good card. Go.
Untap. Well, I could just swing in, but I want to know what this does. 1 with nothing? Seth?
1 with nothing. So 1 with nothing, a single black mana instant, discard your hand. So the opposite of discard is draw. The opposite of is your opponent. And the opposite of hand is graveyard. So when you cast 1 with nothing, you get to draw a target opponent's graveyard.
Oh,
That's the opposite day way.
Draw your graveyard, and then I'd be swinging in for
33. I'll go to minus 13.
GG.
GG.
On opposite day, call me Carlos.
Oh my god.
Draw 7. I will go first because you won.
Yeah, that seems fair.
I'll play Mountain and a Brutal Suppression.
Brutal Suppression. Oh god. 1 mana red enchantment. Activated abilities on Rebel cards cost an additional sack a land to play. In Magic, the opposite of Rebel is Mercenary. And then the opposite of sack a land is Ramp a land. So I think the text on opposite day is triggered abilities on mercenaries you control. Cost an additional, search your library for a basic land, put it into play tapped to play. Something like that.
Yeah, that's gonna be relevant.
Sure.
It's your turn.
I draw for turn. I'm gonna play Swamp. And I don't know what's happening here. Dark Ritual.
Dark Ritual. Oh god, this is tough. So 1 mana instant, add 3 black mana to your mana pool. How would this work on opposite day? So literally the opposite of making mana would be losing mana, but I don't know if there's a way to make people lose mana under the current rules of Magic. 1 mana, add 3 mana to your opponent's mana pool. You can choose which opponent you want. So target opponent, but the opposite of black in Magic, I think, is white. So your opponent gets white mana. So it's 1 mana instant, add 3 white mana to target opponent's mana pool. That's Dark Ritual on opposite day.
3 white mana.
There's no mana burn, right?
No.
I will take it.
You're welcome.
I will draw. I'll play Mountain. No, pass it turn.
Oh, I draw for turn. I play a Swamp. I'm not sure what this card does when it's not opposite day. So let's ask Seth what this does on opposite day. Chains of Mephistopheles.
Oh no!
I'm sorry, Seth.
Chains of Mephistopheles. Can someone get me the flowchart? If a player would draw a card, except for the first one they draw during their draw step each turn, the player discards a card instead. If the player discards a card this way, they draw a card. If a player doesn't discard a card this way, they put the top card of their library into their graveyard. So, opposite Chains of Mephistopheles.
I thought that was opposite already.
If a player would discard a card, that player draws a card instead. If a player draws a card this way, they discard a card. If a player doesn't draw a card this way, then they put the top card of their graveyard into their hand. Does that make sense? That's opposite Chains of Mephistopheles. Don't ask me to explain it again because I'd never be able to. Have fun.
Let's
Have fun,
just
guys.
pretend it wasn't played.
Yes.
I'll draw. I will. Oh, pass the turn again.
Wait a second.
Oh, I'm waiting to get a mercenary.
I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna play land. Kavak Sprite.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Kravik Spite. 3 mana instant, sack all your permanents, discard your hand, target player loses 5 life. So opposite day Kravik Spite is going to be Sacrifice none of your permanents.
Oh, good.
Discard none of your hand.
Thank you.
Target player gains 5 life.
You did well.
I gain 5, thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, I'm gonna play something game-ending.
All right.
Tal, this is for you. Hirajuku's second right.
4 mana instant. If target player has exactly 10 life, Hidasugu's second right deals 10 damage to that player. The opposite day of this would be if target player has exactly 10 life, Hidasugu's second right gains that player 10 life. Yeah, it's like a really good red life gain spell now. Opposite day.
It didn't do what I wanted it to do. Unfortunately, I'll pass it to
Wow, we
haven't been doing anything.
So I'm just gonna
Wait till I get a mercenary.
4 mana. Triskaidekaphobia.
Says at the beginning of your upkeep, choose one. Each player with exactly 13 life loses the game, then each player gains a life, or each player with exactly 13 life loses the game, and then each player loses a life. So this one's actually kinda simple. At the beginning of your end step, since end step's opposite upkeep, each player with exactly 13 life wins the game, and then each player gains a life or loses a life.
End of turn. Nobody's at 13.
No.
Everybody loses a life.
I'll draw. Okay. Phil, you're going down. I'm venging Yamen. I'm gonna play a Pact. I don't even pay mana yet. I'll play a Pact of the Titan.
Uh-oh.
So 0 mana, create a 4/4 red giant creature token. Beginning of your next upkeep, pay 5 mana. If you don't, you lose the game. I think this one's gonna be pretty broken on opposite day. So you make the 4/4 at the beginning of your next upkeep, you make 5 mana, and if you do, you win the game. So make it to your upkeep and you're in good shape on opposite day.
Take that!
Wait, before you make the token, I'm gonna target it with Slaughter Pact.
0 mana instant, destroy a target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you pay 3 mana or else you'll lose the game. So on opposite day, I think these cards are pretty broken. Regenerate target non-white creature, because regenerate opposite destroy, white opposite of black in Magic. But then at the beginning of your upkeep, you make 3 mana, and if you do, you win the game.
I think I'd like to regenerate that giant token.
It's regenerated. I need to dig for something to take a turn. I'll play Thought Vessel.
Okay.
Ideally, it's gonna draw me like 7 cards.
Oh, we'll see.
You have no maximum hand size, tapped at a colorless mana. All right, so the opposite of no max hand size is no hand, right? So I think Thought Vessel's static ability is your max hand size is reduced by 7. It's like you get Jin Gataxiast or whatever.
Nice play.
I know with Dark Ritual, I said the opposite of like you making mana is your opponent making mana, but if you gotta literally lose your entire hand to have this on the battlefield, you can still make the colorless mana, that's fine. There's no consistency on opposite day. Enjoy.
I'm gonna untap, upkeep. I make 3 mana. And I think I win the game.
Well done.
Everybody has failed. I won't.
Let's see about that.
Let's be honest, nobody knows what's gonna happen. So I'll just play an island and pass the turn.
I draw for turn. Swamp. I mean, we know what this does. Depth, Shadow.
Well, I've seen this happen. I don't want to see this happen. I'll make an offer you can't refuse.
But it's only non-crit. Oh.
So an offer you can't refuse, 1 blue mana, counter target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. Ooh, opposite day an offer you can't refuse. Counter target creature spell for 1 mana,
Hey.
and you get to make 2 treasure tokens. That's actually like a busted card. Yeah, seems good.
Seems pretty good. Yikes.
Well, let's see what I get. I play an island and pass the turn.
Island Go, that's the worst kind of magic. Oh no. Yeah, well, Swamp Go.
Okay. Let's see what happens. I will play a brainstorm.
Brainstorm. So 1 mana blue instant, draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Okay, so discard 3 cards.
No.
Then put 2 cards from your graveyard into your hand in a specific order, since specific is the opposite of any. So make sure you choose wisely with the order you put them into your hand.
That's the worst brainstorm I've ever seen. I will discard 3.
Uh-huh.
And then in specific order, take this one back. And I cannot shuffle them anymore, so they're fixed in my hand. I don't like opposite day brainstorm. Go.
It's fine for me. Okay. Draw for turn.
Yes.
Play a land. I have no idea what's gonna happen now. 3 mana. Hint of insanity.
So Hint of Insanity, 3 mana black sorcery says target player reveals his or her hand. That player discards from it all non-land cards with the same name as another card in his or her hand. So on opposite day, Hint of Insanity says target player reveals his or her hand. That player may search their library for any number of non-land cards with the same name as another card in their hand. So essentially, if your opponent reveals their hand and there's a Death Shadow, they can search their library for any number of Death Shadows, put them in their hand. Same with any other non-lands in their hand.
Non-lands, huh? Ah, that is very sad. Well, I show you my hand. This is in specific order. Yeah.
Nice hand.
You saw my hand, yeah. I have to be very careful. This is in order.
Oh, don't you mess that up.
Yes. Well done. I didn't even need to counter it because it just didn't do anything. All right. I will play an island. Yeah. And I have nothing, I swear. I passed the turn.
Draw for turn? Well, let's find out. Swamp. 4 mana. Abyssal Persecutor.
Abyssal Persecutor. 4 mana, 6/6 flying trample. You can't win the game, and your opponents can't lose the game. Oh, this one's easy on opposite day. It's basically Platinum Angel. You can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game. So it's 4 mana, black, Platinum Angel. Yeah, you can keep the flying and trample. That's fine.
I would like to mana drain the platinum.
Would you? Huh.
It might cost me all of my mana, but...
So, 2 mana instant, counter target spell. At the beginning of your next main phase, add an amount of colorless mana equal to the spell's mana value. So what's the opposite of countering a spell? Copying a spell? Maybe copying a spell. So I think mana drain. Copy target spell. At the beginning of your next main phase, target opponent adds an amount of colorless mana equal to the spell's mana values.
It resolves. I will get a copy.
Yes.
And in my main phase, you get 4 colorless mana. All right, I will draw. And I mean, if this is not one of the best cards ever printed, it's Zephyr's Spirit. Then I don't know.
6 mana 0/6. When it blocks, return it to its owner's hand. Oh god, on opposite day. When Zephyr's Spirit attacks, you gotta return it to your opponent's hand. Because opponent's opposite of owner, so...
It's still the worst creature in Magic.
At least I can block with it. It's an 06.
Untap. Draw. I don't know where this game is going. We both got Platinum Angels.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play a Swamp. 4 mana. Demonic Pact.
So Demonic Pact, 4 mana black enchantment, says at the beginning of your upkeep, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Demonic Pact deals 4 damage to target creature or player, you gain 4 life. Target opponent discards 2 cards, you draw 2 cards, or you lose the game. It's going to be target opponent gains 4 life, and you lose 4 life for the first one. Target opponent draws 2 cards for the second one, you discard 2 cards for the third one, or you win the game for the fourth one. But there's one other problem on opposite day. The problem is, the opposite of you choosing is your opponent gets to choose the mode. So on your upkeep, you're gonna have to pick an opponent, and they will choose which of those opposite day modes you get. If you manage to survive a few turns though, they still have to pick a different one each time, so they're gonna have to pick to let you win the game eventually.
It doesn't even help if I win the game. It's just downside. Swing for 6?
I'm gonna take it, you know.
Fine.
I will draw. And I will play an island and an Ether Storm.
4 mana enchantment says creature spells can't be cast. Pay 4 life to destroy Ether Storm. It can't be regenerated. Any player may activate this ability. So on opposite day, Ether Storm says creature spells can be cast. So kind of like Steel Golem, a nice little reminder if you want to cast a creature spell, you can. Gain 4 life. Regenerate Ether Storm. It can't be destroyed. No player may activate this ability.
Okay.
So I guess that means technically it doesn't really do anything.
I will attack with my Abyssal Persecutor.
take it.
So you also go to 14.
It's not like I can lose the game.
And it's your turn. Now I have a choice. I would like you to win the game.
All downside from me, yeah. They draw for turn. Swamp. We just slinging spells. Ad nauseam.
Says reveal the top card of your library. You can put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost, and you can repeat this as many times as you want. So I think the opposite version of ad nauseam is reveal the top card of your library, but you put it in target opponent's hand, and then you gain life equal to its converted mana cost.
I guess I have to do something. So
Alright.
let's see.
What do you have?
One with nothing.
Oh, that's alive. I go to 15. But I can't cast it, it's black.
Well, you can have all the spells you want then. Here's a Triskaidekaphobia. Swamp.
Now I can actually cast.
Oh no! Oh, they go to your hand? I keep it at 7.
Okay,
Take your
thank you very
goodies.
much. Attack me again?
Swing in. Now
I
I'm
go
winning
to
the
8.
life race.
Okay. Well, 19 is very interesting.
Oh, you got
Attack.
Triskaidekaphobia.
So you go to 13. Okay. I will play the swamp and then play the Triskaidekaphobia.
That's how you say it.
We know at the end of turn, you are at 13. So you win the game. But since that doesn't help, I think we will both gain a 9. So you go to 14 and I go to 9.
Untap. Pain.
I will gain 4 and you will lose 4. So you go to 10 and I will go to 13.
Draw for turn.
Yes.
I hope this solves the problem of us not being able to win or lose. Toxic deluge.
As an additional cost to cast this spell, pay X life, all creatures get -X until end of turn. Wow. I'm pretty sure this card is just straight up broken on opposite day. So the opposite of this card literally is an additional cost to cast this spell, gain X life. So it's 3 mana, gain infinite life, I guess, and then all creatures get +X until end of turn.
I'll gain 69,000 life.
69,000? Nice. But unfortunately,
Counter target spell, beginning your next upkeep, pay 5 mana. If you don't, you lose the game. So it still counters the spell, but at the beginning of your next upkeep, you make 5 mana, and if you do, you win the game.
Would be nice if somebody could win.
yeah,
but
unfortunately, winning the game is not in the cards.
still gonna go in there.
I go to 7.
All right.
Upkeep. I would choose to make 5 mana. I win the game! It's the most disappointing win the game. I'll play an island, and then at the end of turn, nobody has 13 life. So you go to 11, I go to 8. Go ahead.
Would you like?
Oh, I draw 2.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Would you be interested in actually progressing that game? Swing?
I will block, because then I can get it back with 1 with nothing.
We'll find out about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Well, if this card doesn't win me the game on the spot, I'm done.
Phage, 7 mana black 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, if you didn't cast it from your hand, you lose the game. When Phage deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature. It can't be regenerated. When Phage deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. So opposite day Phage. When it enters the battlefield, if you did cast it from your hand, you lose the game. So you gotta reanimate it or something, sneak into play somehow. When it deals combat damage to a creature, regenerate that creature. It can't be destroyed this turn. And then when it deals combat damage to a player, that player wins the game. Opposite Phage, a little less powerful, I think, than the OG Phage. Opposite day.
Well, trigger on the stack.
I thought you would win the game now, but
Congratulations. Same.
skill game. It's a skill game. You see it, you believe it. That was opposite day. Thank you for watching.
Well, this game was.
expecting you to win the game right now.
Yeah! How does he leave this opposite out?
How does everything go opposite? Copy, tree, like. Ah.